A big witness got emotional at the Emergencies Act Inquiry today. Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland taking the stand, saying last year's convoy movement protest posed a threat to Canada's economic security. Freeland says she saw the blockade at the Ambassador Bridge a real escalation of the threat. Matt Ingram has more.
I had at that moment a very profound duty to Canadians to stand up for them. And I'm surprised that I'm getting emotional, but...
A teary-eyed Chrystia Freeland recalls the impact of a comment by an American investor relayed to her by the head of a Canadian bank during last year's convoy movement protests and blockade of the Ambassador Bridge. "We were being called a joke by people. I had one investor say, 'I won't invest another red cent in your banana republic in Canada.'" Documents from today's inquiry show the comments were made during a call on February 13th of last year, just one day before the Trudeau government declared an emergency under the Emergencies Act. The call was between Freeland and all of Canada's bank CEOs who warned her our nation's reputation was at risk.
I sort of said that what I was trying to do was rally the bank CEOs. Like, don't let those guys say to you that Canada is a banana republic. We're a great country.
The inquiry heard that the White House's top economic advisor told Freeland just days before that all northeastern U.S. car plants would shut down within 12 hours if the blockade wasn't ended, sparking serious concerns for her about the Canadian auto sector being cut out of the U.S. economy in the near and long term.
This was so worrying to me because I could see, really for the first time ever, the Americans having this amber light flashing in Canada. And this amber light that said to them, you know what? The Canadian supply chain could be a vulnerability too.
She drew a direct link between that threat to the economy and Canada's national security, defending and explaining the Liberals' decision to invoke the Act.
I really do believe our security as a country is built on our economic security. And if our economic security is threatened, all of our security is threatened.
Further explaining the decision, she said she was very concerned about the potential for violence between protesters and counter-protesters if the blockade dragged on. Freeland wrapped up her testimony this afternoon, and afterwards, 3 of the Prime Minister's top aides took to the stand to answer questions. Now, the Prime Minister himself is scheduled to appear before the committee tomorrow. An email actually we just received from the Prime Minister's office says that he'll be there at 9:30 tomorrow morning, bright and early, to begin his part of this phase of the Emergencies Act inquiry.